So being off from one of the early points you mentioned in your career, you started with consulting and large technology projects, business transformation projects. And now we are in 2022 with all these sort of digital transformation and AI and SaaS being motherhood and apple pie. But more importantly, I want to ask you two things. One is focus on customer service. So one is, what does your current customer service stack look like? Because we talk to a lot of leaders who come in customer service new often, right? Like for yourself, like you were not in the space, right? But you are managing this function, leading that function. So what does your stack look like? And the second part to that question is, when you were doing business technology transformation 10 years ago, maybe, or some time ago, or versus now, with everything moving to the cloud and SaaS products like Level AI, is it easier or harder or similar in terms of sort of adopting new technology, doing sort of digital transformation? I hate to use that phrase, but
sure.
Improving your services using digital technology, is it easier or harder?
Yeah. So I think what's fascinating now is I'll start with the second question first, and I'll come back to the first. So I'll come back to what our stack looks like. But to start off with the difference between, what my career was like early on versus, how I look at the same type of work now. Back in the days when, most of the technology projects were driven by large enterprise software vendors. You had all of the infrastructure installation to do, and management and upgrading and all of that overhead. And that caused a lot of things to go more slowly. And, obviously the barrier of entry was much higher, right? So you had a very select number of big players. And so like the Oracles, the SAPs, the JD Edwards, So like these were all the common players back then. But now I think what's and that, is much different than today where you've got these, standing up a SaaS business on, a global infrastructure that's already there that can auto scale elastically is so much easier to get up and running, and it really comes down to your speed of thought, your speed of value prop. And so I think one of the biggest the biggest challenge for me as a CX leader is to really keep up with the speed of innovation, right? And just when you think you're looking at all of the different capabilities and different vendors in the space, another one pops out of the woodwork, and you're saying, wow, I didn't know somebody was also solving this other problem over here. So I really think the challenge for today's CX leaders is really to stay current on technology, to always be thinking about your next problem sets, and also keep your eyes on what are the other ways that those problems could be solved. Some of those things are eventually going to be solved by vendors who are continuing to expand and grow their portfolio of capabilities. Some are going to be solved by purpose-built vendors. And I think one of the biggest challenges for us CX leaders is to go into an environment and make the decision, like, where do I use something that's best of breed versus where do I partner with somebody who's on this broader roadmap to expand their capabilities and eventually cover the problem that I'm going to solve. Because I think one of the things that SaaS, so while SaaS has done wonderful things and driven us from a CapEx to an OpEx world, subscription-based model, all of the elasticity that comes with it, that's great. But there are also integration challenges, and now starting to not allow your vendor ecosystem to sprawl out of control. And so I think vendor selection becomes much more of a challenge. Vendor partnerships become more of a challenge, and I think just really architectural planning and evolution becomes more of a challenge over time. So that's kind of the answer to the first one. And then in terms of what our stack looks like right now, all of our core business. So I run all of our onboarding and support teams, and we're like a lot of SaaS companies. We have all of our infrastructure on SaaS. So, our our basically the backbone of our systems is our Salesforce environment, which, this is whether it's Salesforce or Zendesk, other people are very much in that situation where they have a core backbone of, CRM capabilities that are shared amongst multiple functions out across the business. It's sales, marketing, obviously delivery, so onboarding and support. In some cases, many organizations extend it well beyond that. But for us, marketing, sales, and delivery are all on Salesforce. So people who are in customer-facing roles, have the ability to share information. Now, all that said, Salesforce in and of itself, is not purpose-built to do a lot of functions in the most innovative way. And so we've been very mindful about figuring out where we go after inserting the appropriate technologies to give us capabilities that are going to help us operate more effectively with our customers and deliver a better customer experience, but also allow us to continually improve productivity over time. And that's been a journey, right? Because when I can remember when I arrived, we were a Series C company, and we were, we didn't have really robust systems, and we didn't have all the metrics we wanted. So we had a lot of foundational work to do. And so I think depending on where you are in that journey, I think you have different challenges to solve. But for us, we've gotten to a point where, we have that backbone. We have fairly established processes and metrics and that sort of thing. What we need to do now is really work on transforming that, different pieces of that are going to really take our customer experience and our scale to the next level. Because we still have big ambitions here, and
of course,
we need to continually be looking at how we can deliver both. And I think that's where it gets hard. Sometimes, you feel like you have to, I've heard folks say at times, well, you need to either optimize for customer happiness or optimize for scale, but you can do both. It's just really, really hard.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so our stack right now, we're running on Salesforce as our core backbone. We've got a CTI vendor. So we use TalkDesk for our CTI capabilities. We're leveraging a digital engagement vendor by the name of Unblue for providing the ability to start with a chat conversation, digitally go straight from escalate a chat to a voice call, and even to do co-browsing and screen sharing in real time with our customers to help. Because one of our biggest challenges in our business is having to do more real-time coaching, because the equity space is just not well understood by a lot of folks. So that's where we need to invest in capabilities that are going to allow us to coach better. And also to that end, that brings us to how we ended up partnering with Level AI, and that is looking at ingesting all of these different interactions. We're using Level AI on the back end, basically to mine the white space, so to speak, as well as mine the conversations we do get feedback on. But my biggest concern all along is what I don't see, and so Level AI gives me a way at scale to dive into what's going on in all of those customer interactions I'm having, whether it's in the support space or in the implementation space, that I don't get any customer feedback on, and that I think are super valuable to give us insight on how we can deliver better service, how we can continually improve, the skill and therefore careers of the people that work in the delivery organization. And then obviously the great nuggets are out there, how to mine that information for product feedback too, so we can close the loop a little bit better with our product team on real customer examples.